Got a nice stack of lumber to pick from. This is all stuff that came from inside. And what I want to do is build a wedding arch. So we have a couple of weddings this summer, and that rustic look is in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
All right. So I went on the internet and I found some information. Basically something in the range of 8 to 10 feet tall, maybe 4 to 6 feet wide is what we need. I'm going to make the top using this piece of lumber here. It's nice and wide. I'm going to cut it in half. I don't want this thing to weigh a few hundred pounds because we will have to move it around. And then the rest of it's going to be sort of an A-frame style with these pieces. So we'll make them in that shape. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the shop. We're going to pull out all of these nails, maybe run this through the table saw, and then put it together. So before I start any project, I like to do a little bit of a sketch, and here's an example of the one that I did for this arch. Really just freehanded it. You know, the design was something that I liked, and it kind of worked with the lumber that I had at hand, and I thought that it would look good. So after I drew this out, I then essentially took the wood that I had and traced it or sort of mapped it out onto it as best I could. You know, I didn't use anything special. I basically took a pencil, measured everything out, and then followed the cuts from there. Okay, so we just cleaned off all the wood. We used a stiff wire brush, it was just a barbecue brush, and that helped to really bring out the grain, and it cleaned off, and it looks pretty nice. Pretty happy with how it came out. So what we're going to do now is cut this in half using a table saw. This is going to be the top piece of the arch, and then next time we work on this, we're going to figure out the dimensions for this lumber and actually figure out how tall the arch is going to be. So table saw, power tools are fun. Let's get to work. So for the first arch, I essentially just freehanded it. I took my pencil, traced out what I thought would look good, and then cut it out with the jigsaw. After that, I duplicated that over onto the other side as a stencil. So it was pretty simple. That way I was able to just follow the cut lines and make two of the exact same style so that they matched. Okay, so we've got both of the arches cut out with the profiles that we are happy with. Next thing to do is to get the lumber for the uprights cut to length. Basically we're just using that in the shape that it is. I just need them to be the exact same length. So we're going to pick two of the closest match pieces from here, cut them to length, just trim a tiny bit off the ends, and then attach them to this to start the next step.
So here I'm just screwing the base to the uprights. The base ended up being about 32 inches across and the uprights ended up being about 8 feet tall.
So next steps, just gotta eyeball this and measure out some pieces to fit here. So that's gonna be using more of our lumber, and we're gonna do a 45-degree angle, because as we all know, triangle is 180 degrees. So if this is a 90, then 45 and 45 will form the rest of the triangle. Math!
Right angle triangles.
Making a rough estimation here. This is going to be about 24 inches long, so I'm going to cut it to 28 to give myself some leeway, and then make the measurements after that. So 28 on here. Duplicate that. It doesn't really matter which end we're putting it on right now. And it is important which way you cut it on this one. Notice that they're both pointing in now. So either you flip the saw around or you cut from the other side, and since I want to see the cut, I'm just going to turn the saw. Which I'm doing backwards.
Which way do you want to do it again?
Backwards, I guess. Let me just draw that again for you. Anyways. Not exactly 45 degrees is what I'm thinking.
There's a chance.
Yeah, that's fine. It'll work for the time being. What I'll do is I'll just measure that angle and dock the difference. So since we're really just eyeballing this and it's not a piece of artwork, it's kind of okay to be a little bit rough. Appropriate angle on this saw. Oh, that looks good. That's a good fit. Once everything is tightened up. So I'll just do that again. I'm liking the way this looks. It's nice. Ta-da!
Hey, look, it stands perfectly.
It stands out. It does what it's supposed to do. Gut?
Guten Tag.
Good. Yeah. Okay, so now we just put the middle weave in, basically.
So after marking some pilot holes, I used a 3/8 inch bit to make way for the bolts, which, believe it or not, were 3/8 of an inch thick. These were galvanized. Now I've seen people do some cool things here where they use like a torch to give them more of a, like a blackened looking effect, but hey, in our case we just wanted it to go together. So they're shiny and I thought they looked good.
Okay, so we finished our little project here. It actually didn't take that long. It was only maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours of work. Probably because I didn't measure a single thing, that helped. So sometimes just eyeballing it really moves things along. So the lumber we reclaimed from a home that was about 150 years old, so it's got a lot of character. You can see all the nail marks here. I used to have a plaster and lath wall on it, so that's the reason that it's got those lines. That's from the plaster. And it's a mix of different species. This is definitely hardwood because it took way longer to cut, and it's probably 30 pounds heavier on this side than that side, but luckily that doesn't matter too much. Really happy with the way this turned out. I think that the profile looks really nice. We were originally going to add a couple of details up here, but that would have been a little too busy. So very happy with it. It's totally stable. It's not going anywhere. Once it's covered in flowers for the actual wedding, we'll probably take a few more photos and post those kind of as a completion to the video. So thanks for watching, and check in next time.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yeah. Smash that like button. Cool.
Cleaning montage.
You filming me, please? Cleaning! It's the most fun man can have.
Oh yeah.
Get
Oh,
in there and
it's the money shot.